at Bumpugu Yoyo and Gushegu. And Bumpugu Yoyo, the last figures we are getting now is over 1,800 people there. And the one in Gushegu, we are getting almost over 800 people.
We'll hear from the Interior Minister as the Kokomba Youth Association calls on government to intervene in a humanitarian crisis.
We call on NADMO to coordinate humanitarian support for the hundreds of people who have lost their entire properties, especially the hundreds of women and children who have nothing to eat.
Also tonight, days of missing court dockets and undue delays over as Judicial Service rolls out what it calls mind-blowing paperless regime, which will halt the phenomenon of unacceptable delays.
This is going to change in a way that is mind-blowing and in a manner that is going to bring the Judicial Service at par with international best practice.
And in business, Finance Minister Ken Ofriatta gives fresh reasons for record Eurobond results.
And later in sports, Ghanaian coach Pakwesi Fabian tasked with the responsibility of getting Uganda to a first World Cup after taking charge of the country's under-17 football team.
And the news just coming in, 3 police officers involved in an alleged assault on Ghanaian Times journalist interdicted. We have the latest on that for you all here on NEWSNITE. You want to stay with us and join us with your views and comments, and as a WhatsApp 0244340437. My name is Evan Spencer. And we start with some news coming in, and the police has a statement out tonight indicating that the police officers involved in the alleged assault on the Ghanaian Times journalist have now been interdicted. My colleague Komla Dome has a copy of that statement. What does the statement say?
Well, Evans, it says the Inspector General of Police has directed the immediate interdiction of the undermentioned police officers for their involvement in an alleged assault of journalists from Ghanaian Times on March 14, 2019 here in Accra. And they are Inspector Isaac Opare, Ministries Division, Accra, and number 37698 Sergeant Ebenezer Akrofi, Accra Regional Police Headquarters, and the third is service number 5082 Lance Corporal Evans Kofin team, and he is with the Police Visibility Team, Accra. It goes on to say the Inspector General of Police has further directed the Accra Regional Crime Officer to take over the investigation of a case from the Ministry's police station. He has also instructed the commander of the Accra Central Motor Traffic Unit to take over the motor traffic accident aspect of this particular case. And Evans, it goes ahead to say both are to submit their reports in 1 week. Additionally, the Police Professional and Standards Bureau, PAPS, has also been directed to look into the case and the conduct of the police officers who were on duty at the Ministry's police station when the incident was reported. The public will be updated on the progress of police action taking, and that's the statement from the police service that was issued and signed by Assistant Commissioner of Police, Director General of Public Affairs, David Eklu. Okay, so if you're just joining us, that's the latest on that assault case against the journalist colleagues of ours at the Ghanaian Times newspaper who were allegedly assaulted by 3 police officers who have now been
been interdicted in a statement that's been signed and issued today from the service. A series of other actions have been taken, including the taking over of that case that by the ministry's police station. Also, the Inspector General of Police has further directed that the Accra Regional Crime Office to take over the investigation. Rather, the Accra Regional Crime Office is taking over the investigations. They're moving the case from the ministry's police station. He has also been instructed to the commander of the Accra Central Motor Traffic Unit to take over the motor traffic accident aspect of the case. Both are to submit their reports in 1 week, which is important here. The 1 week, we're expecting a report on the investigations by the police. The PIPS has also been directed to look into the conduct of the police officers. We'll get your reactions to this latest development shortly. But today, we've been hearing from the Interior Minister, who has been apologizing on behalf of the police.
Some incidents happened recently about the police having to sit in a car, and then there was some assault in the rest of them. When we get to where we want to get to, as far as equipment is concerned, the police will not have to go sit in a car. The police has a communication equipment. He calls, and then all the police all over the place pick the number of the vehicle and they stop the vehicle. But because we are still scrabbling to get them sufficiently equipped, some of the moves they make puts them in harm's way precisely because we haven't equipped them properly. When we get to where we want to get to, thanks to the President's commitment, you wouldn't need videos because the uniform the police wear would have equipment there to tell us what they do in the whole day. So I want to say the ministry that we apologize for whatever my sector agencies might have had with you people, but it's not in our spirit. It's in the spirit of the President, as you know, to push the frontiers of free expression, and that's the only way we can progress as a nation.
So that's the Interior Minister. The question is whether an apology is enough. We've seen tonight further action being taken on the back of that apology. Already, Shraj is taking a keen interest in this matter. The Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, the head there, Joseph Whittal, says the police must use the Ghanaian Times incident to rid its ranks of unprofessional men in uniform.
It's clear that there's a lot of unprofessional conduct coming from the police. And I'm very certain that the police high command would want to clean their image. And so for this to happen a day or two after the submission of the report of the Short Commission, which is all about police-civilian relations, and the fact that even though the report has not yet, the findings are not known, we all saw it. This is how the police can begin to clean their image by ensuring that errant police officers are properly investigated, not covered by police intelligence and professional conduct investigations, but they are properly put before a law court, just like every other citizen, because they are not above the law and prosecuted. This is the right thing.
And there are already talks of a total media blackout in the wake of that incident. The Ghana Journalists Association has intimated that it's going to be an option that they will exercise if all else fails. Kofi Yeboah is the General Secretary of the association.
Many people are calling for a blackout. I think blackout should be the weapon of last resort, in the sense that if you call a blackout on, say, the police today, and tomorrow there's an assault against a journalist, where do we go? But are there some other actions you can take that will still have impact? Some people say you can go on the street. Is this something that will still put pressure on the police? So I will want to table anyway when we are meeting to have such a discussion. There's a move that maybe we should broaden the scope of our action. So we are trying to get other actors like DIBA, like Print Park, like Media Foundation for West Africa. So we will think of a collective action to take.
Well, the government has taken an interest in this as well. There's a press conference today at which the Information Minister made these pronouncements.
In fact, even this morning I spoke to their editors that I still haven't received their formal complaint. Nonetheless, we have been in touch with the Interior Ministry and the Police Service. It is our understanding that they have already, I think, even taken statements, and they are proceeding to conduct their investigation in this matter. We continue to insist that the speed with which the persons who assaulted the police officer were quickly found and arrested and dealt with, that same speed should be applied in finding the officers who assaulted these persons. And for me, these are citizens. It's not even about the fact that they are journalists. These are citizens who were subjected to what appears to be undue force by police officers. It's important that that investigation is done with dispatch, so that it doesn't appear that when it is about the police, they are acting with dispatch, and when it's not about them, they are not. And I think we've made that point quite clear to our colleagues at Interior and to our colleagues at the police service.
We'll get reactions shortly to this statement from the police, from the Ghanaian Times and the GJA. They've been waging a campaign against assault on journalists for some time. If you're just joining us, the police issued a statement tonight that the IGP has directed the immediate interdiction of the undermentioned police officers for their involvement in an alleged assault of journalists from Ghanaian Times on the 14th of March 2019, and these include Inspector Isaac Opari, Ministries Division, Ebenezer Akrofi, Accra Regional Police Headquarters, and Evans Kofi in Team Police Visibility Accra. The IGP has also further directed the Accra Regional Crime Officer to take over the investigation of the case from the Ministry's police station. He has also instructed the commander of the Accra Central Motor Traffic Unit to take over the motor traffic accident aspect of the case. Both are to submit their reports in 1 week. The Police Professional Standards Bureau has also been directed to look into the conduct of the police officers who were on duty at the Ministry Police Station when the incident was reported, and there's an assurance that the public will be updated on progress of police action taking. It comes on a day when, as you've heard, the Interior Minister has apologized for that, and the Ghanaian Times itself has written a formal petition that the Information Ministry says they're yet to receive. We'll have more on this for you shortly, but let's go to the Northeast region, because the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, says it has set up temporary camps to house women and children forced to flee the raging conflict between the Konkombas and Chokosis, as the figure of displaced persons rise to over 2,600. Police have sent reinforcement to the area, which they say remains volatile. But Northern Regional Police PRO DSP Yusuf Tanko says they need more vehicles to patrol the area because of how extensive the conflict has become.
Yeah, the military have increased their men on the ground. The police have also increased their men on the ground. And those are the things that have helped the situation. But we need to understand that the conflict is not limited at Chirponi district. It extends to Bunkrugu Yoyo area, Saboba area, and even a little part of the Yendi areas. And these are very vast areas. And some of the places, they are not motorable. And others too, you need very good vehicles, to be strong vehicles to be able to access those areas. So those are some impediments, but that notwithstanding, we've been able to bring the situation under some control. But we are sure with the men that we have had, we'll be able to get it to firmer control. But we will need more vehicles than we have now to be able to get to some of the places that we've not been able to get, especially where the navigation with ordinary vehicles are difficult.
Well, meanwhile, the Deputy Director of NADMO, Sergi Saji, says they are having challenging times identifying those persons affected by the conflict in Tripoli.
No, we have not been able to reach all persons yet. Especially in Tripoli, it is even difficult reaching the people because we don't have a camp where all the people are gathered. But we have a camp at Bunkrugu Yoyo and Gushegu. And Bunkrugu Yoyo, the last figures we are getting now is over 1,800 people there. And the one in Gushegu, we are getting almost over 800 people. And now we got our last report as of yesterday evening. But this morning, when I spoke to the regional director, they are administering relief to those at Bunkrugu, those at Gushegu.
But why is there no camp at Tripoli? That is the heart of the conflict.
No, the Tripoli itself, as I'm sure you listened to the commander, in the Tripoli district, the fighting.
Yes, I understand. When I say Tripoli, exactly. I mean the district, because you say you don't have a camp in Tripoli itself, but the places where the conflict is within the Tripoli district. But you have camps elsewhere, and I'm asking why not at Tripoli, because that is closer to where the conflict is.
What happens is that these districts we are mentioning, they all share borders. So depending on how close your community is to where the camp is, people move there. So you can have somebody in Tripoli district, but the person community is close to maybe the next district, the person moves there. So that's why we don't actually have a camp there. But what is happening there is that records are being taken of those displaced persons who have moved to their relatives.
Do you have any estimation? Do you have any estimation of the displaced persons you've not been able to reach?
You see, it is a continuous conflict. Even this morning, there was some burning in some communities. So you cannot, at the go, just estimate the number of people. The number keeps increasing.
Well, the Kokumba Youth Association of Accra, they've added their voice to call the government to take immediate steps to end the violence and get the needed humanitarian supplies for hundreds of displaced people. Spokesperson of the group, Isaac Foyon, says the military as well as the police must take the allegations of bias and killings in these districts seriously and act swiftly. A4 Evans Chenry has more.
Addressing the news conference, spokesperson for the Konkumba Youth, Isaac Foyon, says the National Disaster Management Organization, NATMO, and some other organizations must coordinate humanitarian support for the hundreds of youth who have lost their entire property.
We call on NADMO, Konkumbas in and out of Ghana, humanitarian organizations, and all well-meaning Ghanaians to support Koye's drive to coordinate humanitarian support for the hundreds of people who have lost their entire properties, homes, farms, clothing, etc. Especially the hundreds of women and children who have nothing to eat or drink and have nowhere safe enough to lay their heads. Koya would like to reaffirm that Konkumbas are peace-loving, hard-working people and are willing and ready to cooperate with the security agencies to bring back peace and peaceful coexistence in the Saboba, Tripoli, and Uyo Naswa districts.
Mr. Foyo called on both Konkumbas and Chokosis to give peace a chance to enable them fight poverty and underdevelopment in these areas.
Well, let's stay a while longer on this because ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee, James Agaga, tells John News they will hold the Interior Minister before the committee over the raging conflict. But Interior Minister Ambrose Derry says the ministry will soon implement the recommendations of the committee that was set up to probe into the underlying factors that had been triggering this conflict between the Kokumbas and Chokosis in that part of the country. He blames the renewed clashes on suspicion between the two ethnic groups.
Clearly, we are dealing with a situation where we need the leadership of the two groups, the Kokumba and the Anofos. We involved them in the committee. They were represented. I'm calling on the leadership to resume their leadership, not that it didn't end on the committee. We received the report and we're going to work on it. There are several things that we are going to do. The situation in Tripoli is regrettable. Clearly, we are dealing with a situation where we need the leadership of the two groups, the Kokumba and the Anofos. We involved them in the committee. They were represented and the committee has submitted its report. But clearly, we need in the implementation and moving forward for the leadership of both sides to educate their people on the ground on what transpired. Because it's about land. And if it's about land, the law is clear. You go to due process. But it appears that there is suspicion. And the only way the suspicion can be handled effectively is, of course, apart from the police and soldiers being on the ground, which they are, the leadership of both groups must step forward and make sure that their people live in peace.
Well, the conflict is affecting education in that part of the country. There have been reports of teachers in Tripoli deserting schools there. This has heightened concern among students who say they've been left on their own despite a GS directive to schools that they should not shut down. But the students, who some of them spoke to us, insisting they simply want to leave.
They are just in the school and our police are running out, and then we can also some of the security mines back near with gun, and they say we told our sister they said that don't worry, the security men will come and gather. I will be watching. They never come here. Sometimes they will just come once in a while and go, and that is for even right now after we are here. None of them is here.
So what do you want to be done for you as students?
Yes, please, madam. What we want is to go home.
So that's just one student there. Let's go on the line. Let's speak to Chairman of the Education Committee in Parliament, Stephen Siaka. Thank you, sir, for your time here on NEWSNITE. Looking at what the situation is in the Tripoli district and other surrounding communities, isn't it appropriate for the Education Ministry or the GS to shut down schools temporarily, at least, until this is brought under control?
Well, thank you very much. You know, these are some of the side effects, the disadvantage of misunderstanding involving brothers and sisters who, for the past years or so, have been living peacefully. And if there's an issue over land, the consequences normally are not considered. We need potential leaders tomorrow. We need people to man our resources tomorrow. And it's education that can help us to achieve that. Now, this case, who are in schools, are also related in a way. Some belong to one faction or the other, and they happen to mix up like that. Anything at all can happen. So their future clearly is not secure. And some of the teachers too probably may not necessarily come from that vicinity. So they're also valuable, beings for some other families elsewhere. So their life is also in danger. All these things will affect quality of education. In fact, already, because of lack of teaching materials and other things, the problem is being compounded. So leaders normally should look at what the side effect, the effect of misunderstanding that the innocent children who we all rely on for tomorrow, they should consider them before embarking on some of these things. Normally, it doesn't speak well. You see, so it's a problem. Other nations, other part of the community, they are going. Some who have already equipped with better teaching materials are learning at a faster rate. And here's the case: they will write the same exams, the same day, the same time, and they are losing this way. So it's a serious issue.
Mm. So should schools there at least shut down temporarily, knowing what you know?
Well, the authorities are there. They have to weigh the dangers involved and see whether if that is feasible, fine. Because some may travel far and near to come to school. Who know what will happen? Once I'm not directly a policy maker to that effect, I think Ministry of Education will rush in there to assess the situation for itself.
So you're recommending that either the GS or Education Ministry assess the situation and make an immediate decision as soon as possible?
Yes, because there are valuable life involved there. Some of them are very, very innocent.
But you cannot, at this point, in your capacity as a chairman, make that recommendation, knowing what you know and what we've heard.
No. If you do that, then you are trespassing, because the structure, the whole structure is there.
No, but you have a supervisory, jurisdiction over the Education Ministry.
Yes. I expect the District Director of Education to report this to the regional, so that quickly they take decision.
I'm grateful, sir, for your time here on NEWSNITE. Let's stay with this because there are now talks and demands for peace. Chokosi youth in the Ashanti region are calling on the government to urgently intervene to avert further loss of lives in the region conflict there and restore peace to the area. Leaders say they are unhappy with some individuals who may be fueling this, and they simply want peace. Listen to the spokesperson Idrisu Zakaria.
Government should intervene and bring peace in Tripoli and its surroundings, and also Saboba, and then protect the people there. We also want the government to look into the conduct of the defense minister, Mr.
That is the youth groups there who believe that if you look at these are families, these are friends who've lived there for ages, and yet they found the need to clash. Well, I want to quickly return to the story that we brought to you. We'll do so and get your reactions to the story about the interdiction that we've heard of from the police shortly. And I'll share with you a few of your messages coming through on our WhatsApp console also on the many stories that we are looking at. Now, there are days of missing court dockets, unacceptable delays in the prosecution of cases are over. That's what the Judicial Service is promising as it officially begins the rollout of the electronic justice system in the country's courts today. The project seeks to automate the existing manual filing systems within courts' registries. In short, it will improve court integrity, save time and money for users. But after a successful pilot, the initiative was launched today by President Akufo-Addo. We will hear from him shortly. But first, listen to High Court Judge Ellen Amwa, who explains the new secured system and how to ensure efficiency.
This is going to change in a way that is mind-blowing and in a manner that is going to bring the judicial service at par with international best practice. Now, using your example of the layman has interfaced the system for the very first time. Let us assume that the layman is not computer savvy. He comes with his physical process. It is entered into the registry and scanned after his details has been taken. Immediately his detail has been taken, he has a BP number. That is a business partner number. That number acts as a key which enables him to receive prompts when his case is adjourned, to receive notifications if any processes have been filed in relation to his case, which also saves him time and prevents that interface between himself and the court staff. That increases the level of integrity of the judicial process and also increases the level of transparency of the judicial process.
Well, Justice Ellen Amwa also stressed you don't even need the internet to be part of the new system.
So this is a seamless system, and looking at the internet penetration in Ghana and vis-a-vis the population in that regard, it is a web-based program system that definitely relies on the simple mobile phone. Whether you are using a YAM or if you are using a YAM, you will still get alerts for your adjournment. You will still get alerts when processes have been served. You will still get alerts related. You will be notified either through your phone or by email.
Well, the High Court Judge Ellen Amwa, President Akufo-Addo, who launched it today, has hailed the initiative and saying it will enable the justice delivery system produce first-class judgments hinged on competence, fairness, and independence.
When fully executed, information about the number of convicts, dates convicted, nature of offences, number of persons on remand who are simply being processed for court, amongst others, will be shared with the relevant state institutions. Today, through the e-Justice project, an electronic platform is being provided for process filing, process service, fee assessments, and online payments, just as we have just seen. The platform, additionally, automatically assigns cases to courts and judges, a clear departure from the days of manual assignments, which have the tendency to pervert the course of justice. This paperless court system operates with minimal interference, and if what we have seen so far with a paperless system in use at our ports is anything to go by, then we are guaranteed greater efficiency in our justice delivery system. I urge the Chief Justice not to relent in her quest to build a first-class judiciary whose hallmarks are competence, fairness, and independence. It is indeed encouraging to note that in addition to the implementation of this project, training programs are being held for members of the bench and their staff. This will augur well for the success of the project. I'm hopeful that all actors connected with the e-justice system will strive for excellence and demonstrate integrity in the use of the platform so that anyone, judge, lawyer, or client who uses the platform will be confident that justice will always be delivered.
Well, the Ghana Bar Association, they've been reacting to this. Tony Forsing is your president.
To ensure that these projects do not continue to run as isolated islands, the GBA proposes to initiate a project to bridge all 3 electronic justice delivery products. For example, the GBA system will inform judges in the e-justice system about a lawyer who has failed to take out his annual license, information on an accused person who requests for legal aid on the CTS must be passed on to the Legal Aid Board through the GBA system. The GBA will seek to bring these projects together to avoid duplication of efforts. This will facilitate an efficient sharing of common and necessary data across an agreed interface.
And as a president of the Ghana Bar Association, I wonder if you're a lawyer yourself and you're wondering how this may affect you, but also generally, you may interface with the judicial system one time or the other. What do you make of this innovation? Share your thoughts with us here on NEWSNITE. 0244340437. Still ahead, alarming rates of overweight and obesity accounts for several diseases in Ghana as figures of obese persons rise to 1.2 million.
It is quite alarming. Our statistics show that there's around 1.2 million Ghanaians who are obese.
Well, health experts say turning to the gym is a great weight loss mechanism, but they're warning, do not go into the gym on an empty stomach. And George used to be my gym partner, has abandoned me, left me in the gym alone. And you've seen the results.
And there are some people who would argue that for those who go to the gym, they have nothing doing. You're going to spy on certain things. But when you get off the gym for a while and you realize that it is not just fun, but it's a necessity.
Yeah.
For you to keep fit.
For me, it's almost like oxygen.
And it's something you just cannot do without. Yeah. So it's not fun. You need it badly to be fit. And I mean, it's so refreshing.
It's
and
so
I
good.
got off for some few months. And listen, I realized how
you missed it. So when I return into the gym
very soon.
George, what do you have in the headlines?
Well, events coming up in business. IMF board passes government on final review, bringing an end to the country's 3-year fund program. And Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta gives fresh reasons for the record Eurobond results. The business news on NEWSNITE is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials. And First National Bank, we are the bank that understands your business. First National Bank, how can we help you?
Hello and welcome to the MTN Weather Report. My name is still I'm not for and dry. But this year, whatever your needs are, we're there for you. Now the details of my weather report. 15,000 cities will blow from the intertropical boundaries across the country. We can also see a mist of fog patches of 25,000 cities and a heavy monetary downpour of 30,000 cities move to treat the dry season across the country. Now, ladies and gentlemen, everywhere you go, whether it be school fees or acquisition fees, we're there for you. Rent advance, salary advance, your sorted advance, because with MTN, we're there for you. Now keep talking, browsing, texting, and sending Momo to accumulate points and win prizes each month to cushion you this year in the MTN More For You promo. 80 dial *120#. Now check your points. We're there for you everywhere you go.
Everybody make us see you do the dance. Do the dance.
But the best, we stay above the rest. More quality, more affordability. Kingdom Books and Stationery. Everybody's going to the one and only shop where customer satisfaction is a guarantee. Kingdom Books and Stationery.
Oh yes, with our 30 days credit facility with no interest charge, free delivery services, and our free consultation on setting up your office, Kingdom Books and Stationery is unmatched in our delivery of quality and affordable office essentials, equipment, and furniture.
Experience
Experience world-class customer service in all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Cape Coast, and Takoradi.
Call us on 0302-764-101
or visit our website at www.kingdomgh.com.
Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all office essentials and stationery. Terms and conditions apply.
First National Bank presents its 4th edition of the Economic and Business Breakfast, an opportunity for the Ghanaian business community to understand the macroeconomic fundamentals with the practicalities of doing business in Ghana. According to the 8th edition of Where to Invest in Africa report by RMB, the corporate and investment banking arm of First Rand Group, Ghana remains one of the top 10 most attractive investment destinations in Africa. Senior RMB researcher Celeste Fakone will assess each African economy's investment potential with a key focus on Ghana's economic future. Date is Tuesday, 26 March 2019 at 9 a.m. This event is strictly by invitation. Call 0242-435050 or email info@firstnationalbank.com.gh to book a seat. Proudly supported by Joy Business, empowering, prospering together. First National Bank. How can we help you?
Honey, I need to get some.
But I don't have cash on me. Let me get some fuel quickly and let's go.
And how are you going to get the fuel? I thought you said you didn't have cash on you. What is this one?
My Puma card.
All it takes is a card. The Puma card allows you to buy fuel cash-free from all Puma energy filling stations. You can use your Puma card with any Visa points of sale and ATM across the country. The Puma card also works on mobile money. You get amazing discounts when you fill up with your Puma card. So register for free and get your Puma card instantly at any Puma filling station.
And you only got one for yourself, eh?
Yeah, would I have had my piece of mind?
Oh, thank you, honey.
And where are you going?
I'm getting something from the shop real quick. I need to test the card.
Puma card. Cash-free convenience.
Joy 99.7 FM.
You're welcome back to Business on NEWSNITE. Now, the IMF board has finally passed the country on its last review to aid the program completion for government. This should mean that government has successfully concluded the 7th and 8th reviews, bringing the program to an end. This was after it met this afternoon to review the last assessment done by the IMF staff on the country earlier this year. The development would mean that government would be free of those conditionalities and restrictions which affected some of its policies. However, this review came with some concerns as the IMF raised issues with the rise in debts, fast-tracking work on the Treasury single account, and balancing revenue and expenditure ahead of the 2020 elections. Now, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta says the Eurobond results shows that investors are indeed confident about how government will manage the economy post the IMF completion program. This was after government got more than the $3 billion it was targeting in the Eurobond sale. Now, speaking on the Bloomberg TV, the minister said the prospects are indeed good for the economy going forward.
Today, the IMF board sits for hopefully the successful conclusion of Ghana's program and therefore an exit. And therefore, the market in our mind has overwhelmingly endorsed the policies we've gone through the past 2 years, and they are confident that going forward, the country is in a good position to do.
In its managed in Dubai, with that kind of good appetite, I'm bound to ask you, would you even consider or deny that you will go for 100-year bonds? What do you think?
I mean, it certainly gives one reason to pause. There's usually speculation that election years are years in which countries sort of bust their budgets. Now, I think we are comfortable with what we have done. We understand the market sentiment. We usually have a mid-year review to see how we are doing with the budget. And those are when, we make decisions for that.
Briefly confirm then, is the possibility of a century bond off the table for good? Can you confirm that or not?
I don't think anything is ever off the table for good, because really the issue is that the market has told us that they are comfortable with 31s. So we'll have to work with the market to see whether they are interested in a longer tenure bond for us to do that. But it won't be a unilateral decision. It will be a decision that makes sense for the market. And we don't need to call it century bond. Maybe it's a 50-year something, if that is what the market calls for.
The minister in the interview also responded to concerns that the policy rate cut by the Bank of Ghana was responsible for the recent sharp depreciation of the Ghana cedi.
It cannot be a mistake. Our central bank has been quite clear about protecting the domestic environment and therefore the inflation targeting that we have done. And that always calls for a balance. It is true that the markets were strong outside, which means that people may look to externalize. But actually the fundamentals, as a governor will let you know, have always been very strong. And we really call this a speculative bubble. And the issues that came to bear was one, Ghana was leaving the IMF. And there was a certain amount of cynicism or spookiness from that, so that occurred. And then, of course, a few bondholders wanted to externalize their dividends, and all of that collapsed with the emerging market tightening.
Yes, you mentioned the IMF. Now, since 2016, you've halved the budget deficit, you've brought debt down as well. Is Ghana now prepared to go it alone, or will you continue with some sort of IMF assistance, for example, the Policy Support Instrument Programme?
Well, what I think we really have proven over this period, the clarity of our President Akufo-Addo's vision of a Ghana beyond aid. So the principle of going alone, being sovereign and independent is very clear. However, we've had a great relationship these 2 years with the fund. And so we moved back to Article 4. It's now a 12-month review in which they come in every 6 months. We've also established an economic policy coordinating committee in which they will sit in. So the sense of the IMF as a trusted advisor is something that will go on with. Only there's no money at the end of the table, but the rigor of reviews, etc., will continue. And I think that's a healthy relationship.
And that was Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta speaking on the Bloomberg TV in London today. Now, Cocoa Board has secured a $300 million facility from 7 financial institutions to support some funding production enhancement programs. Now, this was supposed to finance some cocoa bills that the Bank of Ghana raised on its behalf. Now, these funds should go a long way to boost the Bank of Ghana or the central bank's reserves, a development that would again aid the city's strong recovery. And talking about the Ghana cedi today, it closed trading around 5 Ghana cedis, 25 pesos. Now, First Atlantic and Energy Bank merger should be fully completed by the middle of this year. Now, that's according to the managing director of First Atlantic Bank, Odumfa. Now, First Atlantic Bank earlier this year completed the merger with the Energy Bank. Now, typically, such measures would be fears that it will lead to some serious layoffs. But the managing director, Odumfa, says this will not be the situation.
We've had to redeploy staff, yes. We've got to move people around so that where there are redundancies, we use them in places where they can be useful. We're making steady progress. We're happy with what we've done. And today, that is the state of things. So for us today, we're happy with the people we have. Going forward, we would definitely need to make some changes to realign the workforce along with the structure that we're running to make sure that we are able to sustain and improve on our service level to our clients and stakeholders, to make sure that we're able to deliver value to our shareholders and other stakeholders.
Odumfa is the managing director of First Atlantic Bank and some assurance for staff of the merged entity. And that's all for business on NEWSNITE.
Thank you, folks. On my A list today, show some love for Contractor EB. So, Contractor, what do you think about the country's changing skyline?
Oh, send them down there, Yuma. Across skyline, they change you, papa.
Wow. Contractor, don't you get worried when you hear of buildings collapsing?
I'm out for an answer on Tassam. It is the likability of using low quality product.
Please explain why.
Yeah, cement is no quality on your gasem. Village of Fefu Yosiwe. It was built with gasem. Says the gasem wo construction a osi ho pumping hwe N1 KGT market Kotokana Kumasi airport Cape Coast stadium Atwabo gas project nyina Gasebo Messi what the quality no what is quality
Gasem 3 cement grades greater value Gasem the nation builder.
This is what you've been waiting for. The internet experience you've been dreaming about. Welcome to Vodafone's Gigabit Net. Music, pictures, and large documents downloaded in seconds. Lessons from your favorite online masterclass streamed right into your bedroom. Video calls with friends anywhere in the world. Be part of the real 4G experience on Vodafone's Gigabit Net at amazing speeds and seamless connectivity. With Vodafone's Gigabit Net, it's not downloading, it's downloaded. It's not sending, it's sent. It's not buffering, it's streaming. Switch to Vodafone and get the real 4G experience on Ghana's only Gigabit network.
The future is exciting. Ready?
Here's what people are saying about the GCB Easy Pick.
It just makes sense.
It just makes sense.
It just makes sense.
It just makes sense. Yes, saving makes a lot more sense now. GCB Bank will pay for anything you buy from phones, TVs, air conditioners, generators, solar equipment to roofing sheets from any GCB partner shop. And you can pay back later at a reduced price of up to 25% in discounts. Simply walk into any GCB partner shop, pick up what you want at a GCB discount price and fill a form. GCB will pay for you so you can pay back later in installments. Go, get it sooner, get it cheaper, pay later. GCB Easy Pick, it just makes sense. Terms and conditions apply.
GCB Bank, your bank for life.
Joy 99.7 FM.
And a few of your messages here on NEWSNITE I want to share with you. Walanya says, Honorable Atofosing and colleagues are subjecting themselves to public criticism so soon they have forgotten that the Ghanaian cedi is subjected to depreciation over a period of time. How much was $1 to the cedi rate when they left government? Kofi Seru says, interdiction of those police officers who attacked the Ghanaian Times journalist is nothing but a smoke screen to protect your own. This one from Barima says this government has been a huge disappointment on all fronts. The hardship in the system is so unbearable. Government isn't about empty rhetoric. Jagos from someone says, I just hope this public police investigations going on about the assault of the Ghanaian journalist, Ghanaian Times journalist, will help us know the truth about the matter. Those are a few of your messages on our WhatsApp console. Now, guess what? There is a league table of districts and regions that engage in open defecation, and you don't want to be at the bottom of that list. I'm going to bring you details of that. But overall, Ghana has a long way to go in reducing the population of people who engage in open defecation. If statistics in the 2018 multiple indicator cluster survey is anything to go by, the survey shows that 22% of the population still practice open defecation. A regional open defecation league table shows that Upper East region tops the chart, with the northern region taking the second position and the Upper West region taking the third position. Remember, this was done before the new regions were created. Now, the eastern region has the lowest number of people engaged in open defecation, but there's a fantastic story I want to tell you about a particular district in the northern region where, in fact, it tops the chart in terms of it's almost eradicating the phenomenon. Greater Accra region has 8% of the population engaged in open defecation still. This is the capital. My colleague Jojo Kobana joins us in the studio with details of this. Jojo, what more can you tell us about the regional open defecation league table?
Well, the Upper East region has been topping the chart since 2006. In 2006, there were 82% of the population practicing open defecation. And then in 2011, 89% of them were practicing open defecation. But what has happened is that it has now reduced to 67%. But that reduction is not very significant. They are still topping the charts. And the northern region is second, 73% in 2011, 72, and now 57. It is also a significant reduction, but it is not good. It's not good enough. But a region that is performing poorly, that is really shocking people, is the Volta region. Volta region was at 31% in 2011, and then in 31% in 2006, and then in 2011, they fell to 25%, but now it has gone up to 38%. It is worrying. The Western region is not making any gains, still increasing. Greater Accra last 2011 was at 9%, now 8%. You could see that although Greater Accra has really tried, it is not significant. It's just a 1% drop. And so this is very worrying. So in total, 22% of the population
of Ghanaians
still
defecate.
Openly defecate.
Okay.
And this is very worrying.
It's still shocking to think about it. In 2019, people openly defecate, like in public. Let's talk about the district. Which districts in Ghana performed well?
Nandom district now is the only district in Ghana open defecation free.
Wow, they have eradicated open defecation in Nandom of all places.
And the shocking aspect is that there is no single community in the Ashanti region where people do not openly defecate.
So every single community, at least you find somebody openly defecating in the open.
And that is very...
But we need to applaud Nandom for this, the only place in Ghana, right?
In the Upper West region.
But what about, how does it compare to other parts of the country?
Well, it looks like Nandom decided, the district decided to work very hard together with UNICEF and other stakeholders to make sure that the people build their own toilets, to tell them that they have to build their own toilet. They have to make sure that they provide a place to defecate. And so the people took it upon themselves. It was like a development where the people bought into, and then they decided that no, we cannot just go defecate and then bury, or even defecate and leave it. We will make sure that we have a very suitable place for defecation. So we should applaud Nandom District.
Let me bring in Emmanuel Adai. He's a convener of the Media Coalition Against Open Defecation. Mr. Adai, so what did Nandom do right that we could probably scale up?
I would say political will and commitment. There's a program ongoing that was launched in Ghana in 2012. It's a national program for rural sanitation. And I think Nandom took it very, very seriously. So all the, I think, 88 communities in the district, information reaching us that have been open defecation free. That program actually has been supported, especially for that particular district, by SNV. SNV is an international NGO operating in Ghana. And the district authorities, the traditional authorities, and I would say the entire people of Nandom actually embraced the program. The program simply appeals to households to construct and use their own latrines and stop open defecation. And I think they embraced the messages very, very well. And I would say SNV also did well by actually sponsoring the program. But then other organizations like Plan Ghana and UNICEF have all played some roles there. And the Regional Coordinating Council, the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council, has also been keenly pursuing the program. So I would say not only Nandom has achieved that, okay, they are the first to have achieved, but then there are other districts in the region that are also doing
so well. And the thing about this is, it's the example it gives as to how we can do this and achieve success with it in a sustainable fashion. I'm grateful that you joined us. Emmanuel Adai is a convener of the Media Coalition Against Open Defecation. Hans Minsando is here with the very latest on the world of sports. You come from the central Western region, and it's
I find it interesting that we have an open defecation league table.
Open defecation, yes. We need to name and shame. And so if you're the DC or MC of a place that is performing poorly, and you hear that you're in your district, people are openly defecating, and you're not doing anything about it, I think that's embarrassing enough to kick you into action. What do you have in the headlines?
Well, in sports, some good news for Ghanaian coaches, because Parkwesi Fabian has been tasked with the responsibility of getting Uganda to a first World Cup after taking charge of the country's under-17 team. Now, Andrew Reda is a Ugandan sports journalist, and he tells me Parkwesi Fabian is expected to get a team to the 2019 Under-17 World Cup in Brazil.
After the Uganda Cup qualified for the Under-17 AFCON, they have been trying so hard to see who to take up that position. The team traveled to Turkey for the invitational tournament. It lost to Cameroon and Morocco 4-1 and beat Belarus 1-0. But in the last few weeks, they have been speaking to, of course, Kwesi, and I think, yes, there are mixed feelings about the appointment. There are those who think, well, he's quite an experienced guy. He should be able to take the team to another level, maybe qualify for the World Cup. But there are those who also think that, no, perhaps it's a junior team. It should be coached by local-based coach. The contract is 1 year contract, and when you look at a contract like that, it seems to me pretty obvious that the first target is to go and get out of the group, come the tournament next year. Getting out of the group, coming among the top 2 teams in the group means you're basically qualified for Under-17 World Cup, which will be in Brazil. I think that's the first target. I think that will be really huge for Uganda because Uganda has never qualified for any World Cup in football. And this is the first time that the under-17s are even qualifying for an AFCON. So if the same team goes ahead to qualify for a World Cup, that will be really, really huge.
Well, we have qualified for multiple World Cups at various levels, even won some at a junior level, and so we are helping other countries to realize their dream of playing at the World Cup. We wish Parkway Fabian all the best. That's your sport.
Hans, thank you very much. I know, Hans, you've been practicing some weight loss measures yourself. I think yours was keto, correct? Yeah, keto. I'm doing it the hard way, just going to the gym. You know that, right? Keto, you failed. Yes, that's in Nimwa. Don't worry, Nimwa. Just come and join me.
I tried keto.
You just join me in the gym.
My best friend did keto.
Uh-huh.
She went from like a size 18 to a size 10.
Very quickly.
I couldn't do it for 1 week.
Don't worry.
I couldn't.
I can help
you.
I can help you in the gym because that also helps. Just balance it with nice eating and
healthy eating. Apparently, yes, indeed.
Yes,
so Strong and Sassy.
It's next.
Yes, coming up, and we're continuing our conversation on women empowerment. But we're looking at the socio-cultural trends. You know, this week, for example, Berlin reduced how much they charge women by about 21% to match the pay gap. So we're kind of asking how far we have come in making accommodations for things like that. And also the fact that women are not earning the same on the CD for doing the same jobs with men.
I know you're paid more than I do.
So, I wish I receive it. I claim it in Jesus' name.
Talking about weight loss, I have this advice for you from the FAO. They have this advice about people like yourself and myself making some lifestyle changes. Listen to Daisy Lucia.
It is quite alarming. We have, our statistics show that there's around 1.2 million Ghanaians who are obese and who are obese, and they are, it used to be number 2. Ghana used to be number 2 in the number of people having the most obese. But the problem is it's now steadily increasing, and it's quite alarming the way that it's happening because obesity, as we all know, causes a lot of diseases. And, even our studies show that it causes cancer, diabetes, and all of those osteoarthritis and other. It's almost like a ripple effect when it comes to diseases. But the thing is with obesity, it's a preventable problem. I mean, if we make our proper dietary choices when it comes to our food and exert more effort in our physical activities, it can be controlled.
So physical activity is important, but there is a warning for you, by the way, and as I take anyone to the gym very shortly, this advice will have to heed to. Dr. Yosafo, Chief Executive Officer of Medicus Hospital, is speaking.
In terms of the food, it depends again on the type of physical activity you are engaged in. So somebody may be doing a lot of resistance training or weight training. That may require you having a certain amount of calories in your body. Because again, if you are very hungry and you have low blood glucose and you go and exercise, you may pass out. Your muscles use up all the glucose and then your blood glucose level drops and you may feel very dizzy and faint or collapse, in the gym. So you've got to eat or you have to take in enough calories so you can exercise. You can eat a big bowl of banku and then you go to the gym and then you burn all of that.
Moral of the story is eat before your gym. I struggle to do that, I must admit. Although my dietitian has warned me I shouldn't. I struggle. I just go to the gym, drink water and just hit the treadmill 40 minutes and stop. Anymore, I'm looking forward to your conversation. Although I know that many of the ladies here earn far more than the guys do, but
yes, and we're thankful to multimedia for setting that precedent and continuing in that, if indeed it is true, because I don't know how much you earn. But yes, we're continuing the fight for empowerment.
Today you don't know
how much you're earning. Yes, no.
I know how much you're earning. I know it's better. It's far more than mine.
Oh, and actually, boy, Juma too much.
It's okay. Affirmative action. It's fine.
All right, Evans. Well, stay tuned. Strong and Sassy coming up right after these commercials.